The manga starts in 2013, when a Shinigami is returning his death note to Ryuk. He says, "I couldn't use the death note properly, so you can have your book back." Ryuk says, "Okay, I'll take my book back, but you have something for me, right?" The bastard just wants to eat apples. And just look at this panel, how beautifully it's drawn, man. Granted, it's Ryuk's mouth, but the art is so good. Ryuk then says, "I need more apples," and he goes back to the human world. He says, "I'll have to find someone as smart as Light Yagami, who can also feed me apples and keep me entertained." Now we come to the present time, which is May 2019. Ryuk enters a boy's house from under the ground, and how creepy he is looking. He comes and places the death note on the boy's head, and after that, the boy gets a lot of flashbacks. The boy gets scared seeing Ryuk for a few seconds, but then he realizes, "I know him." The boy says, "It's been 2 years, Ryuk." And Ryuk says, "Yes, I'm back after 2 years." After this, we go exactly 2 years back, where all this started. We are in a school's faculty room where some teachers are talking. They are saying that Minoru Tanaka has topped again this year, and if we include this year, it means he has been topping for the last 3 years. He could be the smartest middle school student in all of Japan. In IQ exams, Minoru is getting good marks, but not in English. English? He got 28. Minoru is sitting in a ground thinking, 28 marks are not good at all. Suddenly, a book falls on him from the sky, and that book is the Death Note, and Minoru has made contact with it. So as he looks back, Ryuk is standing behind him. Minoru freaks out seeing Ryuk. First, because he's a Shinigami, and second, his look is so creepy. Minoru is screaming, and Ryuk is like, "Hey, I heard you're pretty smart." Minoru says, "No, I don't even get good marks. Look at these 28 marks." Ryuk says, "But I heard the teacher saying that you've been topping for the last 3 years." Minoru says, "Yes, but in intelligence tests, not otherwise." Minoru says, "Since childhood, I've been playing IQ games on my phone or somewhere else, so I'm good at those things. Otherwise, actually smart people are those who are finding solutions to today's world problems." Ryuk says, "Oh, so you're an idiot?" Minoru says, No, I'm not a duffer, but I'm good at riddles and puzzles, etc." And Ryuk is getting right in his face, and he's like, "Dude, please move aside a bit." After this, Ryuk and Minoru go to his house, where he finds out that the book he has is the same book that Kira used, and he freaks out. Even Ryuk tells him, "Hey, calm down. People can't hear me, but they can hear you." Minoru confirms with Ryuk if this is the same book with which Light killed so many people and reduced the crime rate. Listening to this, Ryuk asks him, "You're so young, how do you know so much about Kira?" Minoru tells him, "Not just me, but every student knows about Kira, because in our elementary school books, it's written about him in history chapters." Ryuk is surprised. "Really? You guys consider him that great?" Minoru clarifies and says, No, everyone considers Kira evil." Minoru says that in our history books, Kira is described as a mass-murdering terrorist, the worst in recent history. But he also says that many people considered Kira good too. Then Minoru again asks if this is really the same book, and Ryuk says, "Dude, open it. Read the rules written in it." Minoru, when he opens the book, he sees it's in English. "I don't know English. Bro, translate it." And Ryuk is like, "Seriously? You want to make me a translator?" After this, those basic Death Note rules are shown again. If you've forgotten, I'll tell you again. Rule 1. Whoever's name is written in this book will die. Rule 2. If a person has 2 names, but the writer has the image of that particular person in their mind, then only that person will die, the other will not be affected. Rule 3. The cause of death has to be written within 40 seconds. Rule 4. If the cause of death is not written, the person will die of a normal heart attack. Rule 5. After writing the cause of death, proper details have to be written within 6 minutes and 40 seconds for that death to happen. Reading all this, Minoru realizes that yes, this is the real Death Note. A small mistake, his name is Minoru, not Minoru. O comes, not A. After this, Minoru asks Ryuk a bit more about L, Kira, and all of them. Ryuk says, "Sure, give me an apple first." Minoru gives him the apple but says, "My mom is on an apple diet." What the heck is an apple diet? Do you eat apples all day? After this, Ryuk doesn't give personal details, but whatever he remembers about Kira and L, he tells Minoru. Minoru, after realizing all this, also realizes that Light used that rule so smartly that whoever touches the Death Note will be able to see Ryuk or any Shinigami. Ryuk would have told him this as well, and Minoru, taking this into account, praises Light, saying how smart that guy is. Ryuk also says, yes, his test scores were top in the whole nation. Minoru then says that if I try to do things like Light today, it won't work because whatever Light did was 10 years ago, and now Japan has evolved a lot. The whole world has evolved. He says that nowadays there are CCTV cameras everywhere. Cars, trucks, whatever vehicles, they have dashboard cameras. He says that the way Light killed people, I can't kill them exactly like that today. I can't use the Death Note like that. He says that if I use the internet to broadcast it, I'll get caught because cybersecurity is very advanced. I'll be tracked down easily. If I use my phone, the police can track that too. He thinks that using the Death Note today is very difficult, but at the same time, it's running in his mind that if Kira were alive today, he would have found some method to use it. Listening to this, Ryuk says, "And can you do something, Minoru?" Minoru has understood that Ryuk wants him to use the Death Note like Kira. But Minoru personally doesn't want to use the Death Note. And if he returns the Death Note, his memory and ownership of the Death Note will also go away from him. And it's also possible that Ryuk might give the Death Note to someone else, saying, "Here, you use it." But it's also in his mind that this is a very powerful book. Whoever's name is written in it will simply die. Minoru thinks a lot about these things, and in the end, even Ryuk says, "Dude, will I get an answer or not?" Before answering Ryuk, Minoru asks Ryuk 2 questions himself. First question, besides Minoru, who else can see Ryuk? So Ryuk says, besides you, those people who have touched my Death Note in the past can see me. And those are the same people who touched the Death Note at the end of the Death Note anime, some detectives and Nier. Minoru confirms this with Ryuk again, and Ryuk says that if someone returns its ownership to me, that person's memory will be gone, and they won't be able to see me. But if someone has just touched the book, they will be able to see me always. This seemed like a small drawback of Death Note and Ryuk to me. Minoru asks a second question. How far can a Shinigami actually get from its new Death Note owner? So Ryuk says that there are no set limits for this, nor are we told any rule. Still, Minoru demands a number. Ryuk says, okay, let's say 14 kilometers. After this, Minoru says, I've decided. And my answer is that I'm returning the Death Note ownership to you right now, and you come back after 2 years to return its ownership to me. Along with that, he also promises that after that, he will give him an apple every day. And Ryuk doesn't care about the Death Note. He says, so I won't get apples for 2 years? Minoru says that in the meantime, you can give the Death Note to someone else, but you have to return it to me after 2 years. This is a promise. Ryuk says, okay, deal done. I'll come back after 2 years. All this was a flashback. Now we come back to the present, where Minoru has remembered all this again. Minoru is looking at the Death Note and thinking about all this, that yes, all this happened in the past. And Ryuk is like, dude, give me an apple. Ryuk asks, what's your plan with the Death Note? And Minoru says, I'm gonna sell it. Minoru says, I'm gonna put it up for an online auction. Ryuk says, that sounds fun, but you yourself said 2 years ago that everything on the net could be tracked. And Minoru says, I'm not going to use the internet, I'm gonna use TV for this. And you'll help me with that. Ryuk translate. Now he's taking his help. He's really made a dog out of Ryuk. Look, Minoru's plan is that 11 kilometers from his house, there's a TV channel named Sakura TV. Using that, Minoru will deliver his message to the whole world. First, Minoru is about to write his message in English, but since his English is weak, he writes it in Japanese. And he also gives Ryuk an apple. The next night, Sakura TV is running its news as usual, but suddenly a paper comes flying in the air, on which it's written that Kira's power, with which you can kill anyone from anywhere, is being sold in an online auction. Use Twitter and start your bid. Use the hashtag #PowerOfKira. And the bidding should be in American dollars. The TV channel people are confused. A paper is floating in the air from nowhere, and at that time, whoever is watching Sakura TV is shocked. Kira's power is being sold? The reporters who are sitting there also read this news live, and Minoru is comfortably watching this news sitting at home. And if you didn't understand how it's in the air, Ryuk is holding it. But Minoru had asked one thing before, besides me, who else can see you? And Ryuk had said some detectives and near. So one of those detectives is watching Sakura TV live at that time, and he sees Ryuk too. He quickly goes to his senior and says Ryuk is back, and he's selling Kira's power. Ryuk was told to hold the paper for only 30 seconds. 30 seconds are over, and Ryuk makes his exit from under the ground. You can say whatever you want, but Ryuk is on a whole other level. The next day, everyone in Minoru's school is talking about this, that an auction is happening on Twitter and how much the rate has increased for the auction now. Right now, the highest bidding is 300 million yen. Look, if someone does something like this today, I'm telling you honestly, they'd be trolled on Twitter by now. People would be making fun of them. Even I would put up my own auction. Now we go straight to L, who is in America at this time. No, not our Death Note L, he's dead. L is basically a position, which our Nier is holding right now. Two detectives come and tell our L, Nier, about what happened in Japan. And L, Nier, smartly creates a face recognition for Ryuk here. This is made so that CCTV cameras or whatever technology can also see our Shinigami, meaning our Ryuk. The two detectives who are there tell L the whole situation that happened in Japan. And L first decodes that the new owner is from Japan. Because in his past interactions with Kira, Ryuk was always around Kira, meaning the Death Note owner. So, according to this, the Shinigami, meaning Ryuk, is somewhere around the owner. The agent says, let's quickly book tickets to Japan, we have to catch him. But L, Nier, says, even if we find Kira, what crime will you charge him with? I mean, what wrong has he done? Did he use the book? No, he's just selling the book, and selling the book is not a crime. L says that we can definitely catch the person to whom the Death Note goes. But Kira is extremely smart, and L says, I would personally like to meet him. On L's orders, all the CCTV camera footage around Sakura TV is checked, and it's found that Ryuk came from the ground into the building and left from the ground. He came from the owner's house from underground to that building. And he's not a first copy Ryuk. After this, L Nier explains how smart Kira is. He says that we can't catch Kira. We don't know where he lives, who he is. Second thing, when he sells the book and the ownership goes to someone else, all his memories and everything will be gone. So we won't find out anything. In fact, he won't even remember that he was Kira. This is a well-constructed plan. And the agent says, it means we can't catch Kira? L says, right now there's no chance, but we have one chance to catch him. Whoever wins the auction, whoever sends him the money, we can see who in Japan received a lot of money. And if this also fails, we have no other clue. We'll lose. And along with this, we also have to see to whom the Death Note goes. After this, we come back to Minoru, and by this time, the Death Note has reached 10 billion yen in auction. Ryuk says, a lot of money has come, but when are you going to end the auction? Then, using Ryuk, he shows another notice on Sakura TV. And that notice is that the auction will end in 1 week. Although Ryuk only had to hold this message for 30 seconds, but since this thing is being seen by the whole world, not just Japan, Sakura TV says, run this for 30 minutes. During their live broadcast, an agent comes who can see Ryuk. That bastard comes in front of the camera and says, stop this broadcast right now. And Ryuk is holding the board behind him and says, hey, it's been a while since we've met. Ryuk is the best. Look, the policeman who came, he knows how terrifying Kira's power is. Its news doesn't spread much, it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. His motive is absolutely right, but the problem is that until now, no one was confirmed whether this is the real Death Note or a fake Death Note. But this same detective was involved in the previous Death Note case as well, so the news reporter asks him live, "Aren't you the same guy who was involved in the previous Kira case?" And he says, "Yes, I am." So indirectly, he has confirmed that this Death Note is real, which confirms to the whole world that the Death Note being sold in the online auction is the real Death Note, meaning it's the real Kira's power. And with this confirmation, the bidding price reaches 200 billion yen. School kids are thinking, no one is this rich, so definitely a group is buying this. While they are talking, the auction price suddenly reaches $300 billion. Now, Minoru uses Ryuk to show another message on TV, and that message is that whichever government body wants to buy this book, they should come on live media and tell how much they are willing to pay for this book. And you wouldn't have thought, who comes to bid first? None other than Trump. Trump says that we cannot let Kira's power fall into the hands of any other nation. So, in a live telecast, the President of the United States of America says that we would like to buy Kira's power, and its rate is 500 billion US dollars. And at the same time, China's president also comes live and places a bid, and they have placed a bid of $1 trillion. This is our currency rate, I don't know how much it is. And seeing this, Trump places another bid and says, we will give $2 trillion. This thing, Minoru, Law, and the whole world are watching, and everyone is having a lot of fun with this. After this, we see another auction in the bidding, Trump's. The US president has placed another bid, which is $1 quadrillion. How many zeros are there, man? I don't know, but whatever it is. Whoever is reading this news is going crazy. They have this much money? And Minoru decides that he will end the auction, and he tells Ryuk that as soon as the money is confirmed, I will give up the ownership, and whoever is the new owner, you go and give the Death Note to them. And Ryuk doesn't care about the Death Note.
His only concern is that if it's gone, he won't get any more apples. To him, the fate of the world is irrelevant compared to his next apple. Meanwhile, the agents ask L how such a large amount of money could possibly be transferred. L deduces that a simple online transfer would be easily traced back to the recipient, who would be the culprit. However, he believes the new Kira, or A Kira, is far too intelligent to make such a basic mistake. L is left wondering not only how A Kira will receive the money, but what he plans to do with it. In one scene, while Minoru sleeps, another Shinigami appears behind Ryuk. The art and design of this new character are impressive. He informs Ryuk that the Shinigami King has summoned him. When Ryuk asks why, the messenger simply states he doesn't know. Following this, Sakura TV announces the winning bidder for the Death Note, the President of the United States. Minoru promises to reveal the details of the transfer within 24 hours. Now everyone knows who the new owner will be, but L remains fixated on a single question. How will the money be sent? He knows that uncovering the transfer method is the only way to catch A Kira. Minoru's broadcast is scheduled for 6 p.m. on a Friday. L notes the clever timing. Banks close early on Fridays, followed by a 2-day holiday. Still, L believes a sum as massive as $1 trillion will eventually be traced. However, the announcement A Kira makes the next day is so brilliant that even L is forced to admit defeat. The new Tira declares that the money must be deposited before Monday and divided equally among all Yotsuba bank account holders under the age of 60. Japan erupts in celebration. Every qualifying person, including Minoru himself, is set to receive 1 billion yen. With the public in a frenzy and the money being distributed among countless individuals, catching A Kira becomes impossible. Hearing the plan, Near, the current L, states, "This is the first time that I have lost. A Kira has officially defeated L." Once the money arrives in the bank, the accounts are frozen for 1 month before anyone can access the funds. With the transaction complete, it's time for Minoru to give up ownership of the Death Note. He hands it back to Ryuk, telling the Shinigami never to return. Ryuk then travels to meet the new owner. In a major plot twist, Ryuk appears before the president. As soon as the president touches the book and can see him, Ryuk reveals a new rule just added by the Shinigami King. Anyone who buys or sells the Death Note will die. Ryuk explains that the money is gone for good, meaning the president has effectively paid $1 trillion for his own death. Stunned, the president refuses to accept ownership of the Death Note. Before leaving, Ryuk taunts him, asking if his own life is more important than his country. The president cleverly retorts that he will simply pretend he has the Death Note's power, using the threat to his advantage. 1 month later, everyone gains access to their money. At that exact moment, Minoru dies. Ryuk had written his name in the Death Note just below Light. True to his nature, Ryuk shows no remorse, only disappointment that his source of apples is gone.